So here's a question. Why is it that every time you turn on the news, it's like the government spends billions while drowning in debt? Sounds bad, right? Like your country's about to go broke. But here's the kicker. Almost every single country on earth has debt. Rich, poor, big, small. Doesn't matter. Japan's debt is more than double its entire economy. The US, over $36 trillion. Dollars. Yep, trillion with a T. So, wait, if everyone's in debt, who are they even borrowing from? And why don't countries just stop, or better yet, just print money? Let's break it down. Section 1. What is a national debt? Think of national debt like your government's giant credit card bill, except instead of owing Visa or MasterCard, they owe, well, a bunch of different people. Governments collect money mostly through taxes, but taxes don't always cover everything. Schools, hospitals, military, roads, politicians, or projects. So they borrow the difference. And no, this doesn't include your student loan, your mortgage, or the fact that California can't balance its budget. National debt equals just the federal government's tab. Section 2. Why borrow instead of printing money? Okay, obvious question. Why not just crank up the money printer? Easy answer, hyperinflation. If a government prints endless money, prices explode, the currency tanks, and suddenly your paycheck buys one loaf of bread. Ask Venezuela, ask Zimbabwe. Spoiler, it ends badly. Borrowing, on the other hand, keeps things sort of under control because debt comes with interest, which forces governments to at least pretend they're being responsible. So why borrow? 1. To cover deficits. Taxes bring in less than what's being spent? Borrow. 2. To invest. Roads, hospitals, schools. You want them now, not 30 years from now. 3. To handle emergencies, wars, pandemics, disasters. No time to save up. 4. To refinance old debt. Yes, governments also take new loans to pay off old ones. And finally, as a money tool, bonds help control inflation and interest rates. Section 3. Who's actually lending all this money? Trillion-dollar question. Literally. 1. Local citizens. Buy a government bond? Congrats. You just lent money to your country. Banks, funds, even social security programs do this too. 2. Foreign countries. China and Japan hold massive chunks of US debt. Why? Because US bonds are safe and pay interest. 3. World organizations, like the World Bank or IMF. They'll lend to struggling nations, but with strings attached, usually involving higher taxes, budget cuts, and people rioting in the streets. And 4. Central banks. Technically, a government can borrow from its own central bank, but printing money this way risks inflation, so today they mostly do it indirectly. Section 4. Is debt always bad? Here's the thing, debt is a tool. It can be good, or it can wreck everything. Good debt, funding schools, hospitals, recovery from a crisis. Bad debt, borrowing more just to cover old debt while ignoring the future. If investors lose confidence, a country's credit rating drops, interest rates skyrocket, and eventually, boom, default. That's what happened in Sri Lanka in 2022. Economists usually look at the debt to GDP ratio to measure safety. Lower is better, but there's no magic number. Japan's is over 200%, and they're fine for now. Section 5. Can a country ever be debt free? Technically, yes. Realistically, nope. No modern country has zero debt. And honestly, it's not even smart to aim for that. Why? Because government bonds are the safest investment out there. Pension funds, banks, retirement accounts, they all depend on them. If government suddenly wiped away debt, it would mean brutal tax hikes or insane spending cuts. And trust me, nobody wants that. Conclusion. So, next time someone complains, why is our country in debt? Just remember, it's not really about having debt. It's about how it's managed. Handled well, it fuels growth. Handled badly, it sinks nations. And if you're wondering why some countries survive with mountains of debt, while others collapse with far less, that's a story for another video. Like and subscribe, and we'll dive into it.